What's going on, guys? This is Anonymous Poker Villain, and I want to welcome you to my second vlog. I want to start by saying that we're sorry about all the audio issues we had in the first vlog, and I was really thinking about maybe removing this vlog and redo it, but I thought about it again, and I was like thinking, doing vlogs, it's a new thing for me, like poker was, and it's a journey. So I want to keep all the mistakes that we did, all the editing problems, all the audio issues, been improve on that. And apparently all we needed is a new mic, and I got new mic, and we got some new gear. So hopefully we're gonna continue and improving. And this is actually a nice reminder when we first start playing poker. At least I can say about myself, I didn't know where I'm at. I didn't know what I'm doing so much. And I didn't have a lot of experience, so I did like poker, of course, and I just wanted to get it, improved by time, and I wanted to learn more and to study more. And so at first I didn't have a lot of experience, and now after many years I gained a lot of experience in this game, and I'm improving every day, and it's a non-stop process. So again, I'm taking you with me to this journey. Vlogging is a new thing for me, editing, all that stuff. I never did that before, and it's exciting to learn and improve. So without further ado, let's jump into the second part of the first episode. As a reminder, we ran pretty hot in the first episode, and let's see how we did in this part. As a spoiler alert, we did make it to the final table, but the question is how we made it to the final table. Will we be the chip leader, or will be a short stack? So stay tuned and find out. Let's go. Welcome, guys, to part number 2. Whoever didn't check number 1, please go ahead and check it. On the way, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. That will help the channels a lot. This part specifically, we are about 208,000 in stack. The average is about 101,000. We are entering level number 10 with blinds of 800, 1600 with a 1600 big blind ante. And guys, more of the same. This session start hot and it continued to be hot. We are on a heater. In this hand, we pick up pocket queens on the button, and we face under the gun +1 and under the gun +2. They all limp, which mean in the pot we have now 8,800. Now over here in the button, I could just raise small, but since I know the tendency of these players in the table is to often call, and I don't want to go 4-way to a flop, so I make it big. And my sizing over here, it depends on how much there is in the pot. So the pot is about 8,800. I want to raise pot size and a little bit more. I went a little bit on the bigger size because the last two players that call are pretty loose, and they like to make those call and battle. So I make it 13,000, but sadly they all fold, and we take it down off to the next hand.
I'm a phone. Phone a big hand to you, man.
Okay, next hand, same level, level 10. We are at the big blind right now, and we have the cutoff that limps. The button also limps. Like I said in part 1, this is a limp festivity over here in this tournament. We have a lot of limps. The small blind also completes, and we look at pocket deuces, almighty pocket deuces. What are we gonna do with them? Of course, we're gonna check. We're gonna set mine and see the flop and hope for the best with pocket deuces. Nothing else we can do. But the flop is in our favor. Like Andrew Nemi says, it's a pretty favorable flop. Deuce 3-8. We flop bottom set. There is a flush draw over there of club draw. It's a deuce and an 8 of clubs. So we check, we set the trap, and the button goes to the button, and he bets 4,500 into a pot of 8,000. Seems a little bit on the bigger side. Seems to me like he's representing an ace-8 kind of hand or a 10-8 kind of hand, maybe jack-8 suited, something like that. I make the call, and we see a turn which seems safe. Jack of spade. The pot now is 17,800. So I check again to the button, and he bets 10,500. A little bit on the bigger side again. That makes me believe that either he had a hand like Jack 8, or he have 8 like an Ace 8, like 8 with top kicker. That seems like, he wants to take it down right now and charge for the flush draw. So I make the move right now. No more checking. It is still a set of deuces. It could be very vulnerable. So I make it 31,000 to go. And the button tanks a little bit. And he makes the fold. And we scoop the pot. On the way, we get a thumbs up from our friend Mikey, who's celebrating a birthday. So happy birthday, Mike.
Yeah.
We take another pot. Feeling good. Off to the next hand. To the next hand, we are now on level 11, and the blinds are 1k, 2k with a 2k big blind ante. Over here we get queen 6 suited in the hijack position, and we decide to raise it to 5,500. Now frankly, it's a little bit in the wider range, and it's also in the low range of the GTO chart. So I want to put the chart out there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. As you can see, RFI means raise first in, which you're gonna be the first one to act after everybody fold, and you're in position of the hijack. You should raise with this hand 57.7% of the time, and the other time 42.3% to just fold, which is not bad. But I decided to go the aggressive route and raise it. Now the raise should be 2.1x. Because of the adjustment that I talked about previously, I make it a little bit bigger, and I make it 5,500, which is about close to 2.7x, something like this, just to basically get fewer calls. But unfortunately, the cutoff, the small blind and the big blind, they both call, and we go to a flop of 7, 10, and 9, 2 clubs out there. We do have the 7 of spade as well. So we flopped over here a gutter for the straight and a backdoor a flush draw with even a backdoor higher straight draw. So we have a lot of equity over here. It does not hit our perceived range. It does not hit our range at all, but it's good flop altogether for our hand. So when we check, the cutoff, interestingly enough, makes it 15,000 into a pot of 24,000, which is quite a huge bet. So once the small blind they call and the big blind folds, we do have a lot of equity over here, and we have even better pot odds once they make the call. So we call and we see a turn. After the turn, which we get an immediate help in the form of 8 of hearts, so we hit our straight, but it is at the low end of the straight. So I need to be still cautious about it because it does hit the small blind range. And it could be also in the cutoff range, like a form of 10 jack offsuit or something like this, or even suited 10 jack. But once we get a check from the small blind, I check back, and the cutoff checks as well. It made me think that they probably have a much weaker holding. So once we go to the river, which is a deuce of club complete bricks, and the small blind checks, in this moment I think that our hand is the best hand over here, and we're gonna target hands like 2 pairs or maybe 1 pair holding with a good kicker like king 10, ace 10, maybe even sets, lower sets, medium sets. I don't know, but I felt like I'm best over here. So in order to get some value because of a 4-liner of a straight, I decided to go small. And if I'm gonna get checked raise, I'll fold, but it doesn't happen. They both call, we show our hand, and we're good. The cutoff had 10-9 offsuit. He had 2 pairs, so we take it down.
You lying! Good fold! Oh my God!
Yeah, good fold.
That's all Tommy's chips right there. Just give it to Tommy. Get your base for. Oh my.
Next hand is pretty quick. On the button with ace queen suited, we have the under the gun who limps, the cutoff and the button, they all limp. I raise to 10,000, they all fold, and we take it down. Okay, next hand is an example why with specific hand you should not flat in specific positions. So over here we face in and under the gun +1, raised to 7,000, and we're still on the level 11, 1K, 2K, and 2K big blind ante, and I pick up ace 5 of clubs. I'm in the under the gun +2, and over here I made a mistake, and I just decided to flat. Specifically also against a tight player, I should either fold to his raise or just 3-bet and put the pressure on. Anyway, I decide to call, and the button calls as well. The pot is around 26,000, and the flop came ace high with no clubs, 2 hearts on the board. Under the gun +1 bets 15,000, and over here I acknowledge that I made a mistake even playing this hand this way, and I decided to just make the fold. I hit the ace, but you don't know where you're at. And that's it. Playing passively does not pay. So next time when you have a hand like this, just go over the top or just fold. We fold, move on to the next hand. Okay, next hand, let's try to ladder up and bust some players. We need to make it to the final table as quick as possible. We have things to do. So next hand folds to me. I'm in the low jack with pocket sixes, and I raise it to 4,000, basically a min click. The big blind is short, so it folds to the small blind who calls, and the big blind completes. The pot is around 14,000, and the flop came ace 4 ace. Basically very good flop for our perceived range. So in this flop, if we have an ace, we're gonna c-bet pretty small, so I make it only 3,000. The small blind understandably folds, and the big blinds goes all in. He's short, he has only 14,000 behind. I make the call. If rebeat, it going to a nice guy like Tommy. So I make the call. The pot is 42,000. We go to a run out.
King! King! Okay, okay. Oh, man, you should have said 1,000 chips so I could have got
Ace 4.
Turn out the lights. I don't blame you for that.
Tommy shows pocket 3, and unfortunately he can't hold. Very nice guy, Tommy, very funny guy. GG, man. He owes money somebody for a last longer bet. Sorry, dude. Better luck next time. See you in the next one.
Hey, Tom, you did better?
Yeah, I did.
4-4, I open it.
You owed him 2.
Oh, you ordered 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so we now move to a different table, and we're still on level 11, 1,000, 2,000, and 2,000 big blind ante. Now I can say the run good is about to be over, and we are sliding now pretty fast. So let's see what's gonna happen in this hand. We pick up pocket queens, and we are in the button, and we face in and under the gun open to 5,000. It folds to me, and I 3-bet to 19,000. Folds to the under the gun who makes the call. So the pot is around 43,000, and we get a pretty decent flop. 10-8 4 rainbow. Under the gun makes check, and I do a standard c-bet to about 40% of the pot. 17,000 to go. He makes the call. The pot now is 77,000, and we get the worst turns ever. We get the ace of diamond, which brings in the backdoor diamond flush draw, and an overcard to our pair, which definitely in the under the gun range. So when he goes all in, I just basically don't have enough of decision to make. It's just a straight fold over here. It's obviously that he played this hand pretty face up, and I make a fold face up. He show ace jack and takes it down, and we are not now running bad, unfortunately. Okay, let's try to find some redemption from the last hand. Over here we get ace king offsuit in the big blind, and facing a cutoff open to 6,000, which I consider a very good player. We have the small blind who makes the call, and we 3-bet to 21,000. Now the cutoff pretty decent player. I expect him to call a wide range of hands, and he does make the call. The pot is 51,000, and we seeing a pretty nice flop of 9-6 ace rainbow. I decided over here to check, set the trap, but he checks back. The turn is a 10 of heart. Didn't change much. It brought the obvious straight draw 7-8. Other than that, pretty safe turn, I would say. So I lead for 28,000 for a little bit protection for one kind of hand that can get there on the river, and the cutoff makes the call. Pretty alarming a little bit. The pot is 107,000, and when the river is a 4 of spade, I decided over here what I'm gonna do, because there's a lot of hand that can beat us. Of course, all the flopped pairs like ace 9, ace 6, and of course ace 10. So all those hands, including ace 4 suited, it could be in the range of the cutoff open and a call to a 3-bet from the big blind. So a little bit alarming. Even though we have top pair, top kicker, we should be good, but I decided to pot control over here. We of course not going to be folding if he's going to bet, unless it's a very, very big bet like an all-in bet. But it's mostly like going for a check call strategy on the river. So we check, but unfortunately he checks back. We don't see any more value. We show our hand and we are good. Moving on to the next hand, we pick up pocket queens again. Let's see if we can win with them this time. We face under the gun limp. We raise to isolate to 12,000, and our player on the left tells us exactly how he feels about this raise, while he folds and the rest fold. And it reached to our friend Mike, who makes the call. Interesting limp call under the gun. Very interesting move. So we'll see a flop. See what's gonna happen. The flop is king 5-10 all hearts. We have the queen of hearts, and once the under the gun leads into us to 20,000, which I consider Mike as a tight player, I find it very interesting. So once he leads 20,000, I make the call. The pot is 71,500, and we see what an interesting turn. It's the 8 of heart. This turn is kind of confusing to me. It should be a good one for us. We did hit our flush. We have basically the second nuts, but you know, under the gun, limp and call, his range will have a lot of hands containing ace, something of heart, maybe even aces, slow played aces with ace of heart. We've seen Mike able to make those limp calls with some big hands like ace king suited and stuff like this that, you know, we battled with him in this session. So it's kind of confusing because it does improve my hand, but on the other side, as we know, Mike can have those hands like ace of heart. But once he check and the river is a king of club, over here I feel like I can go for a 10 value. So I make it 45,000, and I get basically snap called by Mike. Let me know he had the ace of heart, shaking my hand. Nice hand, Mikey. And very interesting limp call with ace 10 offsuit. I don't want to roast this guy. It's his birthday. So nice hand, Mikey. Happy birthday. Moving on to the next hand.
Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you, Mike.
Okay, welcome to the All-In Festival over here right now. We are later stage of the tournament. I'm here under the gun and I open things to 11K. It folds all the way to the big blind who's short. He shoves all in. I make the call. The pot is around 98,000. Let's try to hold, and we go for a run out.
Showing all the hands like king deuce with top pair and stuff. Yeah. He just coolers like all three of them.
Now I know why Rampage love pocket 4. We should have a hand as well. Maybe we should do it pocket 5 so we can dominate Rampage hands. I don't know. But pocket 4, hold. We lose this one. Move on to the next hand. We win some, we lose some. Now we have a better hand. We have pocket queens, the ladies again, and let's hope we're gonna win with them because we need some chips. So after losing a few hands and being carded, under the gun open to 8,000 and folds to me in the small blind. I look at his stack and he has around 100k, which I cover, and I decided to go all in. Everyone fold, and we get some much needed chips back. So hopefully that's a start of something. Let's see what's gonna happen in the next hand. Okay, at this point, I really stopped counting how many pocket queens I got. But the next hand is maybe pocket queens in the seventh time in this past few levels. I really stopped counting. Anyway, we are in level 13 and the blinds are 244. And I was in the other gun in this hand and I opened to 10,000. Pretty standard bet. Everybody folds besides the hijacks. The only one who calls is in position, and we're going out of position to a flop of Jack 8-9 Rainbow. The pot is 30,000. I do double block the 10 Queen for the flop nuts, so nothing to worry about so much. Besides maybe pocket eights, pocket nines, maybe sometimes pocket jacks for flop the set. I do decide to balance my game a little bit and check over here. I'm not going to c-bet 100% of the time, especially not on a wet board like this. Anyway, it goes check, check. Turn is a jack of clubs. I decide to bet small to 12,000 and the hijack calls. A little alarms go in my head right now when we go to a river, which come 8 apart. A double pair the board. The pot is 54,000 and I decide to bet small over here. Any better hand's gonna re-raise me, so I bet 20k and we get the bad news. They hijack, kind of like main click us to 50k. Of course, I think and I say it's a good bet. I can't really fold for this price. It's a very good price for me. So I make the crying call, and unfortunately, we can't win with the ladies again, as our opponent shows ace jack for a vote and keep losing chips. That's not a good sign. So we couldn't win a lot of hands and built up our stack. This is the most important time in the tournament. Unfortunately, it wasn't going our way, but we make it to the final table. At least we made it to the final table. This final table will be played 10-handed. And right off the bat, we pick up ace king. We now are very short. We have around close to 100,000 in chips, which is good for about 15 to 16 big blinds. And I pick up ace king. I'm in the middle position. I go all in. Everybody fold, and we pick up much needed chips. Okay, so how about we gonna talk a little bit about ICM and a final table strategy, which matters much more than any other stage in the tournament. Over here, each payout jump that you make more money, or if you close, in this case, close to the money, so the ICM matter. You didn't spend all day just to get busted and bubbling the tournament and not making anything. So at least to make it more worthwhile for you, ICM matters. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a local tournament or even a bigger tournament. I think the ICM implication could be the same. I call it more over here like a mental ICM, which you don't want to play all day and just like be in the final table and then bubble in. If this sucks, feels bad. So it does matter. So I want to talk about this a little bit in this hand. Some people may roast me, but I want to give you my mindset behind my decisions and why I make sometimes a call that may look like a light call, why I make calls or, excuse me, folds to be exact, that could be kind of looking like a tight fold, like in this case. So over here, I pick up a hand, which is a pretty good one. It's an ace queen offsuit, and I'm in the low jack and I raise 13,000. The player on my immediate left goes all in. Folds to me, normally, especially in the local tournament, like I said, I would gamble, I would put it in. I think I put it in against 95% of the players in that field that day, but not this guy. This guy, I have information about him. He is a very tight player, and I put him only on four hands, the four hands that could beat me, a pre-flop that could dominate me. And I can say it's aces, kings, queens, and ace king, and he will have those hands quite often the way he plays. Quite frankly, to go all in with this hand, maybe it's not a good play by him, but that's the way he plays. I noticed that. So here's the thing. When you come to a decision like this, of course, you need to make that decision based on the information you have. So if you're in a final table, you just moved in from, a different table, all the players against you are not a very familiar players. You didn't play against them the whole tournament. Play according to GTO and play according to the information you have. If somebody makes this move, assume that he has a better hand, unless you have a monster. Just call with what perceivably will be the nuts. So in this case, I decided to make a very tight fold with ace queen.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Are you giving massages?
It's gonna be a tight fold over here. And oh boy, lucky me, because he later told me he had pocket aces, and we made great fold to save our life tournament and wait for a better spot. Okay, quickly dive into the next hand. Of course, like in any final table, it's pretty shallow. We either go all in, fold, and some occasional post flop game. So in this case, we pick up pocket fives in the hijack. We go all in with about 13 big blinds, and we scoop additional 25K after everybody folds. Our stack now is 152K, which is good for 15 big blind. So we have to tread carefully and pick up our spot. In this case, pocket fives is good for all in this position. Put the players that are in front of me in a tough spot. If they wake up with a hand, they wake up with a hand. Nothing you can do. But this is the correct move, in my opinion. Let's go to the next hand. So there's another, probably like around 8 hands that I didn't include in the vlog after the last hand, which were basically a lot of all-ins. I didn't want to put all those all-ins because they're pretty much the same thing. We start picking up some hands, some pocket pairs that we went all in, and the table is playing a little bit tighter. So I take advantage of that as well, and I put a lot more pressure, and we got a little bit more chips. So after basically almost 8 all ends, I picked up some chips, and now we have some more chips to play, and we pick up ace 10 offsuit, and we are in the hijack. And I raise things up to 27K, falls to the big blind, who defends, and the pot is 72,000. We are in 1117, by the way, and the blinds are 6,000 and 12,000 with a 12,000 big blind ante. The flop comes king, king, 3. Whoever study a lot of GTO know that this is a very, very good flop to c-bet on. Most likely you will have either the pocket pairs or the king, and the big blind will have a very wide range that he will defend with. Make a standard c-bet, big blind fold. Our stack now is 272,000. The game of poker can be very deceiving. So we showcase right now, if you get hands that we have, seems to be like we are trending in the right direction. And unfortunately, there's the term of being carded. Whoever doesn't know what carded means just basically simply not getting any hands, can't do anything. So it took a few good orbits. We jumped into level 18, which the blinds are 8,000, 16,000 with the 16,000 big blind ante. And after losing my small blind and big blinds, a few orbits, being carded, my stack now is on 127,000. I pick up ace, jack, offsuit. We are in the cutoff, and with 8 big blind, we have only one move. We go all in, and luckily everybody fold. We pick up additional 2.5 big blinds, so every chip matters right now. Our stack now 167,000. And let's try to make it to the money. That's the goal right now. This is where we go to, and hopefully we can make it. Let's go. So far, we did not see a lot of post flop games. This hand is no different. What do you guys think? I'm gonna tell you that we're gonna play post flop. I'm just kidding. We gotta play post flop over here. Let's dive into this hand. And frankly, I think I played it pretty bad. I would like to know what you guys think. So leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys gonna do different at this hand. And I'm gonna give also my opinion. Looking at this hand retrospective, let's dive in. Let's analyze this hand. So in this hand, I'm in the position of under the gun +1, and we are on level 18. The blinds are still 8 and 16K and 16K. And in the under the gun +1, we pick up A7 suited, spades. In this moment, I was taking advantage of the players on the table, which been playing a little bit passive. So I'm trying to put more aggression. Everybody's trying to make it to the money. So I'm trying to take that as an advantage and try to chip up as much as I can. So I raised things to 33,000, and both of the button and the big blind defends, and the small blind folds. So the pot is 107,000 going to a flop, which is pretty good for us. It comes 6, 10, 4, 2 spade. We pick up the nut flush draw, and in this moment, either I was tilted from all the roller coaster ride that I had in the previous levels. I decided just to jam all in. I had 11 basically big blind behind, and the pot has 107, which is about pretty much, if I'm gonna do the quick math, 6, 7 big blinds. So SPR is pretty close to 1 to 1. Still, I don't think it's justifying all in, but that's what I did. That's the decision I went with. Luckily, they both fold, and we pick up the pot. Now we chipped up to 292K. I'm gonna put how many big blinds is that. I'm not gonna do math that fast, but again, this is a questionable play. I would like to hear what do you guys think. So leave a comment in the comment section below. Go to the next hand. After folding quite a bit and without any opportunity to get hands and do some moves, a very critical moment. We are now 7 people left and only 5 get paid. I had a couple of hands, good hand, playable hand, but I was facing 3-bet. I had like 10 jack suited and was facing 3-bet jam, and I couldn't call with that. I was in the cutoff, and there was early position open and another mid position that went all in, so I had to fold. Very beautiful hand, but after folding quite a bit, I'm left with 170,000 in my stack, and we are now in the small blind, and everybody folded to us. The level is level 19. The blinds are 10,000, 20,000, and we pick up king 8 offsuit. Honestly, bottom of the range. I would play it very, very different against specific players, but on my direct left and the big blind, we have a very tight player, and I want to take advantage of that. So I go all in with king 8 offsuit, and luckily it went through. He fold, and we take it down. Our stack now is 220,000, which is just 11 big blinds. So we are on life support right now. Let's see what's gonna happen. 2 hands after, we pick up a premium hand, pocket kings this time, and it's a beautiful sight to see. Right where we need it in the final table. We are only 7 left. Still, nobody got busted. We are just 2 away from getting paid. We are 7 people left. We're still 11, 19, 10,000, and 20,000 big blind. It's become a little bit shallow, so it's gonna be a lot of all-ins, and this is no exception over here. We definitely don't want to go all in yet, even with 10.5 big blind behind. I get pocket kings in the cutoff. I make it 40,000, but unfortunately, we don't get any action. Our stack now is 260,000, and we trend into the right direction. Let's see if we can bank this tournament. So with kings, we didn't get any action. How about let's try with pocket aces? Two hands after, we get pocket aces under the gun. Unfortunately, my phone died, and I couldn't capture the whole hand. So I'm showing you just the end of the hand. And over here, it's a perfect example for me being a human being and making mistakes. Again, I'm not pretending to be a coach. I'm a human being. It's been a long day that day on that tournament, and I was pretty tired. And also, I was not focusing at all because what I decided to do over here with pocket aces, and I'm gonna give you my mindset, what I was thinking during that moment, but it was a terrible mistake. So when you go later on the stages of the tournament, the players that reach that stage will be a little bit more sharper. They're gonna have more techniques, more skills, and definitely will be able to capture all those little things that other players do. And unfortunately, I decided to limp in the under the gun with pocket aces, and that's the first time I limp with any hand during that tournament, by the way, even though we moved a few tables. But during that table specifically, when everybody is either going all in or fold in or raising, there were a few limps, but those are from typically players that limp most of the time. So I don't. And when I limped, in my mindset, there was two shorter stack on my left. I was hoping I'm gonna limp, they're gonna shove, I'm gonna rejam, and hopefully we'll get more chips. What ended up happening, I'm in under the gun, and I decided to limp with pocket aces. I'm sitting now around 250k in my stack, which is 12 and a half big blind. Like I said, there was two shorter stack on my left, and when I limped, everybody folded, and it got to the big blind, who checked his option. Very terrible outcome in the pre-flop. Let's try to fix that post-flop. So the pot around 70,000 right now. The flop came deuce, 3, 6, rainbow, big blind check. I c-bet for 35k, which is half of the pot. And when the big blind called, they'll have a few alarms over there that he might have a hand that connected with this flop. Again, it's a limp pot, so you can have everything. In my mind, whatever comes on the turn, if he checks, I just basically gonna shove all in. The turn brought the king of heart, which is basically bringing the flush draw. In that point, the pot was 140,000. So as planned, the big blind check. I bet actually 75k and didn't decide to go all in, which I left myself with 120k. But the big blind does the work for me. He goes all in, and I did tank, thinking I played that very, very bad. I just couldn't escape that. Couldn't find a fold over here. And after tanking, I just decided that I can't fold to this also particular type of player, which was showing some aggression in the final table. And he's a very capable player. Again, if he have it, he have it. That will be the end of the road for me. And I decided to call. He showed us the bad news. He had 4-5 offsuit, which flop in the straight, and we are basically drawing dead. The river is a 7 o'clock, which doesn't change anything. GG. We finished in 7th place. We did whatever we can, but altogether, good run. I'm happy with most of the tournament, the way I played, and I'm thinking there were a few spots that I could improve and do better, specifically this limp in the under the gun with pocket aces. I was preaching all this slog about not limping. Limping is not good, and those specific spots could have worked out for me, and I can be looking like a hero. But I still think min click over there will achieve the same thing. It will actually be looking less suspicious than limping from early position. I tried the old trick in the book, but it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. So we finished 7th. We're close to the money. First place was around 8,500, which was a good day of work, if you ask me, for paying $500 for a tournament. Freeze out and get it paid 8,500. But we bust. And let's go to the outro with some emotion. I can say I wanted to say raw emotion, but I didn't have any outro from that day. It's been a while. I had a few things going on during this 2 months, and I'll elaborate in just a second.
Hey, take a picture of the donkey.
So, second part of vlog number 1 is out, finally. So what happened in the past 2 months? I was busy with moving. I did not have time to do any vlogs or to edit myself. Everything I'm doing right now, by the way, is I'm editing by myself just to showcase how I want it to be done, and then my editor is going to take it from here. I did not have a lot of time to play poker, tournament, or cash so much, but I can promise my audience and my growing audience, I can say that a lot of big things are coming, great things are coming, full of action. We're gonna play a lot of cash, tournament, travel all over the world, and I'm gonna showcase that, my journey, with all my audience. It's gonna be fun. So hopefully this is gonna get just improved by time, and I'm doing my best, and I hope you guys gonna like it. I promise it's gonna be much better as far as how I'm gonna talk to the camera, how I'm gonna do the voiceover, all that stuff. It's gonna be much better, and you can see a little bit of improvement from vlog number 1, first part, to the second part. It's gonna get just better. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button, help us grow our community, and hopefully this channel is gonna grow more and more from day to day. I really hope so, and stay tuned. One day I'm gonna expose who I am, who I really am. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Peace.